I'm down to dunk.
And I'm down to dunk. I'm down to dunk.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lindy Waters, and I'm down to dunk. I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kenneth Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
We say this is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Cracklin Oat Bran?
Have you had Cracklin Oat Bran?
No.
No. Okay.
But it's healthy.
Are you a big oat brand guy?
I'm a big Oat Bran guy.
Okay.
I think I would switch it with Fruity Pebbles.
Okay, eat faster. Don't put as much in the bowl.
Do you have a gallon of milk I can also take home?
You don't have milk at home?
One cinnamon toast.
Okay.
Crunch. Yeah. Cereal is great. Yeah.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Wednesdays is my good friend, Alex Speers. Alex, what's up?
What's up, Andrew? Hey, Twice God in the chat said, this is Dario, and I'm down to dunk. Andrew, when are you going to get Dario Saric to contribute to the intro? Make him do it. You should have made him do it the first thing when he landed.
Hey, Dario. Dario, it's a niche Thunder podcast that needs you to say something real quick.
You just say, hey, everyone else has done it. Everyone else, do you want to be a part of the team? Because everyone else has done it.
I had the saddest prop bet ever with Joe Masato on Monday night, and it was who plays more minutes, Trey Mann or Dario Saric, and they both did not play.
So, you're talking about just for that game?
Just for that game, yeah.
So did Trey? Trey didn't play in a game when he went to the G League. He did. He played. Oh, he did. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He had like 24 points.
Okay.
Yeah. He played that morning.
Cool.
So, Trey Mann is back with the blue again. So I think it's in an effort to increase his confidence, which has happened already once this year.
Yeah.
Been a really weird year for Trey Mann. Been a weird year. Some would say bad. Some would say bad year for Trey Mann.
Some would say bad. We've had years like this though from other players in the past.
Sure.
Sometimes you just kind of got to check out for a while. Don't get too up or down on a player. Just be like, you know what? Give him time to figure it out. Maybe next year he comes in and everything's looking good. Yeah. I mean, I'd basically given up on Poku last season.
It's true.
And then he came back in his third season. Was that his third season? Is this his third season?
Yeah,
and
this is year 3. Yeah.
He looked like a new man. So maybe the same will happen with Trey.
A new man. A new Trey man.
A Trey man. A Pokemon and a Trey man.
I'm in the same boat. I'm not ready to give up on him. However,
the
competition level is big time and will be next year. And so has to actually be good in order to play next year.
He does have to make his shots at some point.
Yeah. And he'll get a shot. Like he'll get a chance to do it. So I'm not this is not defining in any way. It's not encouraging, but I'm with you. Just like kind of table your Trey Mann thoughts for a while.
It's definitely disappointing. You would like to see him out there because he's one of the more exciting Thunder players when he's on. Yeah, but there's so many other guys on this team that bother me as much as it might on another team. Like if you were a team where he's like your young guy, you know.
Yeah.
Like how I don't know, I guess BJ Boston. I'm trying to think of a team that has like one young guy. Then it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is our one shot to get like a little lucky.
Yeah.
BJ on the Thunder, it's just kind of like, I hope it works out, but it's not going to kill us if he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. especially because we've got 3-point contest snub Isaiah Joe on the
Oh
team.
my gosh, talk about snubs. This is probably the biggest snubs of the All-Star season because they snubbed the entire top 10. I mean, there were multiple teams. I saw fans from East Coast to West Coast complaining about why their sharpshooter did not get in.
Yeah.
Whether it was KCP, Damian Lee for the Suns, Luke Kennard, Nard Dog. Like none of the top 10 in 3-point percentage made it. And meanwhile, the dunk contest is just like a bunch of two-way guys, no offense. And they put all the stars in the 3-point contest now so that guys like Isaiah Joe can't even get in.
Yeah. Yeah, the everybody wants to be in the 3-point contest. Nobody wants to be in the dunk contest.
That's a problem, Andrew.
The dunk contest contestants, it just bums me out.
Now, I will say, Mac McClung, people are going to be surprised, Andrew, by Mac McClung.
Sure.
He does have some nice dunks.
Yeah.
But I can't. Once Shaden dropped out, it was like, oh, come on.
That was so lame. And the reason he dropped out, too, was like, come on, man.
To get ready for the second half, what are you talking about? Please go dunk.
That was the lamest. That's the lamest thing. I now know he is not going to make it.
Just because of that.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that dunk dog in him.
I am all the way out on him now.
Wow.
Because of that. All the way out. That's the dumbest. That was just the dumbest thing. Like you're a rookie coming off the bench for the 11th best team in the West. Like, come on, bro. You're not like trying to compete for a title or anything. Like, what is going on here?
It was really annoying. And who won it last year, Andrew?
The dunk contest, man. I don't even remember.
I don't either. I was just bringing it up just to see if either of us remembered.
Well, it just hasn't mattered in so long. The dunk contest just hasn't mattered in forever.
I think it was Anthony Simons.
Well, could have been.
Nope, it was Obi Toppin. Did not remember that.
Toppin won it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been so long. Oh my gosh, the Zach LaVine, those great dunk contests. We are now almost 8 years removed. We're 7 years removed.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad.
Wow.
The judges are way more famous than the actual participants.
Yeah.
In the contest.
That is true.
But
hey, you're going to Salt Lake. Are you gonna get to go to any of this stuff?
Yeah, I'll be at all of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you gonna go to the celebrity game?
That's the one thing that I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna do the celebrity game. I'll be at everything else though.
Talk about a snub. It's kind of amazing that even when they had a show on NBA TV, at least one of the no dunks guys did not get into the celebrity game. When you look at who they have in those games, like those guys are big enough, relevant enough to NBA fans for one of them to make it.
I agree. Skeets needed to be in the celebrity game. It's sad. The no dunks guys are doing a live show in Salt Lake that I will be attending on Friday night, so that will be fun. But yeah, Saturday night's going to be the 3-point contest will be like the big one. Like Tatum and Damian Lillard are both in it. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Tatum shooting 35%. That'll be exciting. Hey, okay, let's take Shea out of the equation.
Take Shea out of the equation.
Who would you want to see in the 3 activities? So skills challenge, you can choose one person for each one. Skills challenge, dunk contest, 3-point contest. Now, you're probably going to say Isaiah Joe for 3-point contest. Fine. Who do you want to see in the skills competition?
Who do I want to see in the skills competition?
I think there's a fun one.
I mean, I think like Giddey's like the easy one, but I think I would take J-Dub.
I would take J Will.
You take J Will?
Yes. He could do it. You know he could.
He could do it. He definitely could do it.
And then because that way it opens up J-Dub for the dunk contest. Although I wonder if Trey Mann, like obviously he's had some really nice dunks. I don't know if that would translate to a dunk contest, but
yeah,
he does have some hops.
it's kind of a weird dunk contest team, right? There's not a lot of big time like highlight dunkers. Like J-Dub he is like a great in-game dunker.
Yeah.
He dunks it really hard. But I don't know if he can get enough air to do like really cool stuff. So like it would probably have to be Trey or maybe Aaron Wiggins.
Speaking of the lineup, the actual lineup for the dunk contest, this is a year where like Terrence Ferguson, if he was still on the team, could have potentially made the dunk contest.
Yeah, for real. If he wanted to do it. Yeah. That's the thing is like it's all about who wants to do it. And it's like, well, Jericho Sims wants to do it. Let's get the third string center of the Knicks. Let's get a Mac McClung who just got signed to a two-way. Just got signed to a two-way. Trey Murphy the third, which is not Trey Murphy the third. I've been kind of beating this drum for a while. He's Trey Murphy, or he is Kenneth Murphy the third. There are not two.
I didn't know that.
There are not two other Trey Murphys in his family. Their name is Kenneth Murphy the third. So if you want to call
is his middle name Trey, or is
it's a nickname because he's a 3-point shooter. Trey.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, just a nickname. So don't call him Trey Murphy the third. That's incorrect. And then KJ Martin. I think KJ Martin will be actually pretty fun.
Yeah, he's good. And that's it.
Yeah.
What do you think about Jabari making the skills comp?
It seems like a.
Do you think it's good developmental time for him?
It feels like a sad joke, honestly.
We'll see. Maybe he has something in store for us.
Have we? I mean, we've all watched it. It just feels like a mean prank being pulled on him.
Especially when you have like Şengün would have been a perfectly normal choice for the skills competition because they do have bigs now, and he would have been a fine choice.
Oh yeah, no, he would actually be an amazing choice for it. But instead,
getting to see him run that slalom, the way
there's just so much movement across his body when he's running. It's is weird. But yeah, like why are they doing that to? I don't understand why they're doing that to Jabari. It feels mean. It feels mean.
It does feel mean.
I don't, I'm not the biggest Jabari fan, and I personally like to see Houston suffer in ways, but like that just seems a bridge too far even for me.
He must have agreed to it. It's been interesting watching Rockets fans start to turn on him a little bit. I was watching a low light package yesterday that some Rockets fan put up. Just about
made a low light video of him.
I think it was his like misses from three, because the thing that a lot of them are talking about right now, it's not just that he's not hitting his threes, it's just some of the misses are like worryingly bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, the shot is not good.
And they're not like contested, it's just getting the ball kicked out to him wide open from three and having just some weird misses.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a confidence thing.
Well, I was actually messaging Sam Vecini about this last night. Just like curious his thoughts on like what percentage of this is a Rockets problem, like the Rockets stink.
Yeah.
And what percentage is like Jabari. His thoughts are that it's a lot to do with just his age. Like he's just still so young.
Yeah, he is.
He's still only 19, youngest guy in the NBA. So he's another guy. Like you have to give him time. Like you can't bury the Jabari pick. But
hey, speaking of young,
mm-hmm.
he is going to be 20 in May. Speaking of young, we got a question from Pepsi United.
Mm-hmm.
A quick TQ for Wednesday. Has Al changed his take at all on always taking younger players at the draft after J-Dub experience versus Bays and Poku? Mm-hmm. I know Dub was a higher pick, but he was projected to be in Bays and Poku's range.
Yeah.
So first off, in my defense, I was always a big Chet guy, and he was the oldest of those three.
True.
So it's
a full year older than Jabari.
Full year older. So if I was truly hardline, I would have wanted Jabari.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more that there's a cutoff, and it's somewhere around 22. When I see 22-year-olds going in the lottery, that is when I start to get worried, just based on the history. Because even the older, quote unquote, older guys who have succeeded in the lottery have been 21-year-olds, like Dame. There's a CJ McCollum. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, Keegan Murray barely made the cut.
Why was he like 21, 300 days or something?
Close, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The only
but it is true.
Year-old in the first round this past year. Do you know who it was?
There's only one. What?
There's only one 22-year-old that went in the first round.
Went in the first round last year. Oh my gosh, who is it? Oh my gosh, I can't think.
Senior in the Big 12.
Senior. Oh, no.
Abaji.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
He was a senior?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, well, I wouldn't have taken him.
Ochai.
So, but yeah, I will say that, in the past, J-Dub probably wouldn't have been like a guy I would have zeroed in on.
Yeah.
So maybe I am lightening up a little bit. I've always felt fine with taking those guys in the late first round. But I probably have become less hardline over the years about age. And J-Dub is a great example of that.
Pick 8, I think it starts to matter less.
What?
After pick 8, to me, it kind of matters. It matters a little less.
You believe that is the official age cutoff line?
That's it, right there.
Pick 8. At 8, you're allowed to take Marquise Chris. I remember he was an 8th pick. Take him for his upside. Do not take whoever was the good older player behind him.
So in this current draft, it's a lot of super young guys.
I know. I was looking like Brandon Miller's the oldest, and I still think he's going to be 20 on his draft day. Maybe he'll be 21.
Yeah, he'll be 20. Yeah.
He's like the oldest.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the oldest. And then like you have to get to like Keegan Murray's brother Chris. If you to find a 22-year-old.
Okay.
He'll probably be the only he and Marcus Sesser from Houston might be the only two 22-year-olds taken.
It sounds like this is almost a self-correcting problem because we're getting fewer and fewer young guys going high. I will say I still would have never taken Chris Duarte. Like I don't want to take a guy who's that old.
He was way too old.
There's a difference between he was 24, right?
Yes, he was 24 on draft night.
I will never move from that position. I will never want to draft a 24-year-old with a lottery pick. That is my promise to you.
Yeah, that's a wild one, man. And he's not been very good this year.
He's not.
Yeah. Yeah, that area of the draft was pretty bad. You look at 10 through 14 of that draft, even 9 through 14. Davion Mitchell, Zaire Williams, James Bouknight, Josh Primo, Chris Duarte, Moses Moody. And
the Zaire Williams one in particular, because, as we're starting to talk about when is Memphis going to push the button, one of their issues is that, they have all these picks, but if they're not willing to trade Job Bean or Triple J, which I totally understand, who of those remaining guys is getting other teams excited?
Not Zaire, because he's with the G League right now. He's with the Hustle. He played here Monday morning
against Dre.
Yeah,
against Dre.
Yeah. Shut him down. I don't know if he did. I didn't watch 1 second of it
because the reports were that they offered whatever they needed to offer picks wise for OG, but that Toronto said we want a young player too.
Yeah, I'm
assuming at that point you'd be willing to give up Zaire, but clearly, if that was the case, Toronto didn't want him.
Yeah, no.
I'm just interested because they are drafting a type of guy that's kind of more specific to Memphis.
Yeah,
they're not drafting. Like how Cam Reddish, for some reason, there's always a team that wants to try Cam Reddish. Like we can figure Cam Reddish. I cannot
believe the Blazers are starting Cam Reddish.
Hell yeah, dude! His first game, which I was at.
Whoa! Breaking news.
What?
on the pod. This
What?
is a catastrophe. The Thunder have assigned Aaron Wiggins to the blue.
What?
That's like
Why?
the Aaron Wiggins saga here in OKC continues to make no sense.
This is a new low.
This is, I mean, with Trey, it makes perfect sense, right? With Trey, it makes perfect sense.
I don't like this.
With Wiggins, it's like, wait, is it just to get him some run? I mean, I guess it's just to get him some run because he's legitimately been good for this team this year. He's shooting 40% from three.
They should consider just playing him on the basketball team they have.
I would agree. I mean, I didn't quite understand the Lindy Waters minutes the other night against the Pelicans.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. I just want to look at Aaron Wiggins' what he's doing these days. Is he going to be? Do you think? Because obviously, some guy on this team is going to fall through the cracks, end up on another team, have a nice career.
Definitely.
Do you think Wiggins is more Lance Thomas, where like, yeah, he gets another shot, but in retrospect, you realize he didn't really miss out on anything?
Yeah.
Or is he going to be a fill in the blank player that I can't think of right now?
Yeah. What player has gone on?
Not necessarily left the Thunder. It could be any team.
Yeah. I think he's fill in the blank. I think he's good.
Okay. Alex Caruso.
Sure. Caruso. Yes. Okay. That's a good one. Yeah. He's Caruso. Yeah.
Wow.
I think
high praise.
What else does he have to do? What else does he have to do?
This sounds like me talking to you about Isaiah Joe. What else does he have to do, Andrew?
I mean, it's a little weird to me. You know,
yeah,
shooting 40% from three, playing good defense, closing lineups. Like he's in the closing lineup a lot. When they go offense, defense, they go to him. You know,
he's been a positive when he's been on the court.
Yeah,
that's 2.2.
Yeah,
he'd be cleaning the glass.
That's a weird one to me. That's a weird one to me, dog.
That's very strange. Yeah, let's talk about Lindy because there was a conversation, I thought interesting conversation on the Discord after the game.
Yeah.
And Justin on Discord brought up the question of what is this team doing? Like, why are they not choosing a direction? Because this is something that would have bothered us, and maybe it does because we haven't talked about it, would have bothered us a lot like last year. Because the thing, if you had told us at the beginning of this year, the Thunder are going to end up with like the 11th pick, 12th pick, where they don't make the play-in, but they are like the first or second team out of the plan. We would have said that's the absolute worst scenario for a final spot.
Yeah, it's not great.
Wouldn't we? Yeah. And you watch a game like the Lakers, and it's like, oh, okay, this team's trying to win. This team is going all out. Maybe this is the start of something new. Maybe they're really going all out. On the flip side, you haven't seen them like fully commit to being bad necessarily. And I'm not even saying sitting players, but like they played J-Dub and Shea 39 minutes in that game against the Pelicans.
Yep. They tried.
But at the same time, they're also throwing out lineups like we saw at the beginning of the second quarter, where it's Giddey, Isaiah Joe, Lindy Waters, JRE, and Kenrich that just got demolished, arguably lost the game because I think it was an 8-point lead when they came in, and it ballooned to a 16-point lead. And they were never really able to like fully get over that hump coming back from that. And so they're like clearly still trying out things. I guess, one, do you agree with the statement that they haven't really picked a direction yet? Like they don't seem to be going all out because they're still experimenting. They're still doing these weird lineups, but they also don't seem to be trying to deliberately tank. Even if that was like playing Shea 32 minutes a game. Like they're playing him 39 minutes a game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the experimentation is going to stop even next year.
It has to at some point.
I mean, at some point it will. I don't think it stops next year, though. That's what I'm saying.
But so you think two-way players are going to get time next year?
It's very possible. Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about that lineup in the second quarter because my initial reaction to that, and of course, Lindy, he only plays 6 minutes, so it's not like it's that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But in the context of that game, it kind of was because that was the lineup that did so poorly. The question is, though, like, who is that development for? Like, who is that experimentation helping? Like, what is the point of that experimentation? Because I think for a lot of Thunder fans, they see someone like Lindy, who the team had the opportunity to move him to a full contract.
Yeah.
And they decided against it and gave it to Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
So they've already kind of told us what they think about Lindy, at least in comparison to Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're still running him out there, albeit for only 6 minutes. And that was kind of my initial reaction. I was like, what's the point of this? Like, at some point you have to figure out, you must have learned something from all the data you've gathered over the year, and maybe you start making decisions. But then I had this idea, Andrew, and I want to run it by you.
Okay.
See what you think about it.
Okay.
You often talk about how Josh Giddey is kind of on track to get a rookie max deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, partly because of where he was picked in the draft, partly because of the counting stats that he's put up. Like if you just look at his stats, like the guys who do that tend to get max deals.
Yeah, no doubt.
That lineup, while set up to fail defensively, when you start thinking about it offensively, it's like, why shouldn't this work?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have Josh Giddey surrounded by 4 guys who are all shooting. The worst one is Lindy, who's shooting 37% from 3 this year. They're all shooters. If Josh Giddey is a lead ball handler, as he was projected to be coming out of the NBL, shouldn't he be able to run a second unit with those guys? And so I almost wonder, are lineups like that a way of testing Giddey to see, like, okay, what do we actually have here? Like, does Giddey need to be on the floor with another ball handler every single time? Because if you look at the on-off numbers with Shea, Giddey, and J-Dub, when it's just J-Dub and Giddey and Shea's off, they're right around 0 in terms of their net rating. But when you take off that ball handler, so now it's just Giddey, it drops to like -8 or -9.
Right.
So there's this huge drop off, and it seems like one thing we have learned, or at least is the case right now, he's only 20, is that for Giddey to be successful, he really does need another ball handler, playmaker on the court with him. And that's kind of an interesting thing to find out. And so I'm starting to wonder, are those type of lineups a way to push Giddey to try to see, like, can you be successful in this type of lineup? Because, I mean, Jerry's a good cutter. Kenrich is a good cutter. All 4 of those guys can shoot. Like, if he really is a maestro, the way we've talked about him, why shouldn't that lineup be successful, at least offensively? I understand why it doesn't really work defensively.
Yeah. No, I think it is. I mean, it is all just trying to gather data about all these guys. That Pelicans team is just really well suited to deal with the Thunder, with all the defensive wings that they've got too. Like
annoyingly well.
That was a really tough matchup for the Thunder. So, yes, I think that those lineups should be successful with Josh. And Josh had a weird start of that game. He didn't feel super engaged really up until like later in the third quarter. It was just a weird game for him. And the whole team just felt not as engaged from the jump. So it was just a weird one. But yeah, I think like this process of gathering data on everybody is still going to, continue next year. And that's why I say I think they're like the experimentation is going to continue. Like, you want to figure out if you've got somebody, anywhere, they're like guys like Trey Mann, who were drafted in the first round. Like, maybe those guys don't work out. If you didn't experiment a ton, like, maybe you don't know that you have a player in Aaron Wiggins, So yeah, I don't think that you're far off at all with that assessment, but I think that they've got to figure out they've got to figure out who they've got, like who's gonna work out, who's not. What situations can you put guys in? When this year, either way you go, is not bad. Being in the lottery again, not bad. Making the play-in, not bad. Like it's all.
What about the in between though?
I mean, they'll still be in the lottery.
I know, but that do you feel like that is the worst case scenario where they're like the 11th or 12th pick?
I kind of just don't think there's a bad scenario.
There's better scenarios though.
Yeah, there's better scenarios. Like it'd be better if they made the playoffs, or it'd be better if they were in like the bottom 6.
So it sounds like it is the worst scenario.
But even the worst thing that can happen to them this year is not bad. Because this draft is it's deep. There's a lot of really good players in this draft. It's like I think you can get somebody good at 11, which is where they are today.
I don't know. All the guys that I like are now being mocked higher and higher.
Who are the guys you like?
Well, like I was reading Jonathan Wasserman's mock draft. He had Grady Dick at 6. He had Jarris Walker at 4.
Yeah, the Jarris Walker at 4 thing was that was a shock. Yeah, I like both those guys a lot.
Even like that guy Taylor Hendricks. I think he had him at 12.
Yeah.
What if the Thunder at 13, Andrew? They miss out on all these guys.
Yeah. Well, I think they'll find somebody. I mean, last year they got J-Dub at 12,
Yeah. I just I don't know. I would like some clarity the rest of the season.
Well, because I don't think you're going to get it, man.
I know I'm not. But it would just be easier to watch these games if I knew the team wanted from these games.
I think the biggest problem is that you got a taste of it against the Lakers.
I know that is the problem, because that was maybe the first game this season where I was like, oh my gosh, they are going all out for a win. I can just fully buy into this.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about anything else. I am just watching a basketball team and I'm just hoping my team wins.
Yeah. No, I think they win that game against the Pelicans if they don't go down 20. Like if they just dug themselves.
And why did they go down 20?
They really stunk at the beginning of that game, man. Like with their starting lineup, they went down 10-1.
Yeah, they fought back.
Yeah, they fought back, but it was just bad. Yeah, I don't know. James Anderson says, when do we stop playing two-way players? I mean, I think eventually they will, but that's also a spot where the Thunder have found value. And so I don't know that you necessarily ever want them to just like stop trying to find guys,
Yeah, for me, it's not stopping. It's just like, for one, those guys have a cap. They can only play so many games regardless. I think it's like 50 to 55 or something.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like at some point during the season, you would have kind of learned what you have from those spots and made a decision one way or the other, which they appeared to do with Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
And you would focus, I mean, like Aaron Wiggins going down to the G League.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, why? I just don't, I don't get it, because that is a guy who subs in and out for Lindy.
It's possible that Wiggins is in and out of the rotation. And so it's possible that maybe tonight was going to be a game where he wasn't going to play. And it's the game before the All-Star break. And they just said, hey, you're not going to play. Would you want to go play for the Blue?
You wouldn't want to watch the Rockets game? I don't even care if I'm not playing. I just want to watch the Rockets.
Yeah. If the game goes anything like it did the other night against Houston and Oklahoma City, then like they're going to be throwing out a lot of stuff tonight. But they need to have their foot on the gas and just pummel this team from the jump like they did last time. And then just let it play out. Hey, Aaron Wiggins might play for both teams. I would guess that they're going to do the same thing where they're going to recall
him back later in the day.
Yeah, because it's here and they'll play.
See, I almost understand the experimentation more against a team like Houston because you might be able to get away with it. But just knowing what they did against the Lakers, it made me feel like, oh, they actually are interested in making the play-in. And the Pelicans would have been a prime game to do that because they're so close to you in the standings where they were. So that's all. That's all. But whatever. I mean, we're talking about 6 minutes, so it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
So I'm not that fired up.
Yeah, I mean and honestly, like if Isaiah Joe makes that shot at the end of the game, they tie it.
Oh, dude, if
they win in overtime, then like we're not talking about it at all. Like it's just
they shot 27% from 3. They shot 9 of 33. Now, to be fair,
Yeah.
the Pelicans shot 9 of 30. So, yes, a lot of things went wrong for them to lose that game.
Jeremiah
by 3.
comes back and plays. He misses all of his shots.
Yeah, Jerry was back.
Yeah, there's just like these little things here and there.
The combo of Jerry and J. Will shot 0 of 8 in that game.
Yeah, it was brutal. If one of them just makes one of their threes, then like we're not talking about it. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, Mark Spears wrote an article about Jabari Smith that has a little interesting Thunder nugget in it. We'll talk about that right after this.
What?
And we're back after that quick break. This is from Mark Spears from Andscape. That's
where Eric Horn works now, I believe.
Yes, this is true. Another little Thunder connection there. So this is I'll just read this to you. So Jabari Smith Jr. noticed that his son was crumbling emotionally. This is after not being taken second overall in the draft. Smith Jr.'s legs shook so hard it made the table jump in the NBA's draft green room at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. The elder Smith grabbed his son's leg and said some words of wisdom to calm him down and put it all quickly in perspective. So they called Chet Holmgren's name, and he lost it, Smith Jr. told Andscape. Leg went to shaken. I looked at him. He is almost in tears, and I forgot that he told me that OKC promised to draft him, so I got to keep my mouth closed about that. I talked to him. Well, hey, what are you doing? Straighten your face, man. You good. You good. You good. And you know the camera was right at the table. First of all, you're a millionaire. Second of all, I don't think that he understood the numbers of how many people in the world play basketball, blah, 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 blah. The Thunder promised to take him is a very interesting phrase there. So it felt like he was going to the Magic at 1. And then he according to Jabari Smith Sr., the Thunder promised to take him. Very interesting. Very, very interesting there. I wonder if it was like conditional on Chet being gone.
Yeah, I don't
if it's even true.
Yeah.
Because I had heard other things about how the Thunder, and particularly some very specific people on the Thunder, want
really
to
like Bob.
Yeah. So, who knows? That to me, I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I believe that one.
It's interesting though.
I would actually say I don't believe it. I don't believe that that's true.
Yeah.
But that's a weird one. And I wondered about that. I was actually talking to somebody at the game the other night at the Houston game, just talking about Jabari and how difficult of a year he's had, and just like wonder like mentally what that draft process did to him as a young 19-year-old, you know, because you go all the way up until the day of the draft, and it's being reported that it's going to go Jabari, Chet, Paolo all day long.
Oh, you totally I like hearing that reaction from Jabari. You totally understand it, because I would have, I mean, in the lead up to that draft, I was not thinking, oh, he's going to be the one who falls to 3 at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody thought it was going to be Jabari. You know, Woj, who's like, almost everything he says comes true. And he had reported all the way up until the draft. I mean, we saw it at the draft, at the Down to Dunk draft party. That's when like things started to actually shift. And you had kind of heard rumblings of maybe Paolo goes 1, and but everybody thought it was going to be Jabari. And like if you're 19 years old and you think, yeah, I'm going number 1, and not only do you not go number 1, you don't go number 2, and then you go number 3, and your situation changes drastically. I don't think did Jabari work out for the Rockets? I don't think he did.
No, I don't think he did.
There were a lot of players that did not want to work out for the Rockets, including Jabari. And so there's maybe part of that makes you feel.
Yeah, if you're going to a place that you haven't, I mean, this is obviously the biggest like moment of his life.
Yeah.
And if that moment ends with you going to a place that you've not really had any contact with, and instantly you're going to spend the next at least 7 years of your life probably there.
Yeah.
That would definitely be a shock. You kind of wonder like how things would have worked out differently, even if like Sacramento had been 3.
Yeah.
Because Sacramento is clearly in win now mode, and it ended up working out perfect for them drafting Keegan Murray where they did, because he was kind of the most ready player of that top group. I don't know if it would have been necessarily any better for Jabari if he had gone to Sacramento. Like, would they have given him the time to, like, if he's shooting 30% for Sacramento, is he still getting the kind of minutes he's getting in Houston?
Nope. He's behind Trey Lyles now. Sorry.
Behind Trey Lyles. Yeah, that's right.
Trey Lyles played really well. Yeah. Basketball Card Nerd says, obviously there was some intel about Jabari going to that. Chris Haynes did hear about it and made that tweet right before the Thunder pick.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I think that was just Haynes just taking a jump. I don't think it was.
He was just guessing.
I don't think it was intel based, because there was a lot of intel about the Thunder and Chet Holmgren. A lot of intel.
Yeah.
About that. I do not think that is the case. And I have a lot of reasons to believe that. I don't think that was the case. I think Chris is very obviously great at his job. Does great stuff. There are definitely times, even lately, that Chris will just throw stuff out there that he hears that is not true. And that was obviously one of them. I have many, many reasons to believe that is not the case, that he did that based on intel.
I'm just hoping that a bunch of these guys in the top 10 turn out to be really good players, like that we get like multiple all-stars out of this group, because a 30 for 30 about the run up to this draft would be really interesting, because I still don't feel like I have clarity on what exactly happened with the Magic and how close that decision really was. Obviously, It was painted a certain way in the media in the run up. It seemed like, oh, they're obviously taking Jabari. So maybe that was just a media concoction, or it was a deliberate smokescreen. But I would just love one day to learn more about that.
Yeah. It was a strange one, because like they didn't even have Paolo in for a workout. They just talked to him like over Zoom. The Magic.
Over Zoom.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a weird draft overall. That adds to like the weirdness there. But yeah, I am not a believer in that story.
It's pretty amazing looking back now, and the fact that the OKC Thunder have had this season with J-Dub,
yeah,
is really special, because it does feel like they just like happen to land the guy in that range who everyone kind of feels like, okay, this guy's solid. He's going to be in the league a long time. I mean, there's other guys in that range that people like, Jeremy Sohan, like people like Jeremy Sohan. Dyson Daniels gotten some minutes. Shaden Sharp has had some moments. Obviously now I'm in the top 6 with like Mathurin, but grabbing J-Dub in that late lottery and feeling so good about it, not even done with his rookie season, and arguably better about it because he keeps getting better. I mean, we haven't really talked about the Pelicans game yet, but the one bright spot from that game was just how much of a core piece J-Dub is.
Oh my gosh.
Like he's playing 39 minutes. He's putting up 22, 7, 4, 2 steals and a block, hitting 2 threes. Like,
he had the behind the back pass to Shea in transition after that one play was just ridiculous. It happened like right in front of me where Giddey steals the ball and throws it to J-Dub as he's falling out of bounds.
Yeah.
And J-Dub behind the back to Shea. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was some old school Thunder type of play.
That was awesome. That was really, really cool. And yeah, I said it Monday, but I do think that like there's a non-zero chance that J-Dub is the secondary star on the Thunder.
He could be. If his 3 ball is real, and it is come around significantly since the first couple months.
Yeah, I'm a believer, man. I'm a believer that because of the ball handling, the shot making, the way that he can get to his jumper, the finishing, and just like the willingness to play literally whatever role you want him to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really something to that.
Yeah, he's shooting 39% in his last 16 games, which is nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He's shooting 36% in his last 26 games. So it has definitely been trending up. Yeah, I love J-Dub. And that is outside of Shea, like truly taking the superstar leap, realizing that you might have your number 2 in J-Dub, or even if he's the number 3, that even makes you more excited.
Yeah,
like if
number
you're
3
thinking,
yeah,
if J-Dub is the 3rd best player on this team, that is incredible.
And that's the most likely outcome, is that he's their 3rd best guy. And that's why I can't get bummed out about this upcoming draft and draft positioning, because like they've got a lot of really good guys already. Like even like 2 months ago, I was having a conversation with somebody that is close to the Thunder, and they're like,
Rumble?
yeah, it was me and Rumble were talking, and Rumble was like, I think that the Thunder are good. I think that the team is good to go. I was like, really? Yeah, I think I'd rather have another pick. And there's part of me that still feels that way, but I don't know.
I was watching the game. I just want to bring up real quick.
Yeah,
they had the pregame prayer.
Yes,
and I could see in the background Rumble was also bowing his head, which I thought was very respectful. I did not realize that Bison would do that, but I did see Rumble praying along, which I did think was very good. It was very, very nice.
It was very respectful.
Very respectful.
Good job, Rumble.
That's a good Bison.
Where do you think J-Dub would go
in a redraft?
In a 2022 redraft.
So, baby.
You want to do a redraft real quick on the fly?
Yeah. So I think Paulo is still going 1.
Paulo probably still goes 1. He's on a bit of a cold streak, but like the size, the ball handling, I believe in the shot. I think that you just have to believe in him.
So guys that I think people are still like really excited about, or okay, so I think like Chet, Ivy, Mathurin probably still go ahead of him.
So I think like Paulo 1. I think Chet still would go 2.
I think that's probably correct.
Who would go 3? Would you still go Jabari 3 if you're the Rockets, or would you like want a mulligan on that one already?
Oh, if it was the exact teams, oh wow.
Yeah, let's say it's the exact teams. Like, do the Rockets already want a mulligan on this?
Honestly, getting Keegan Murray, one, he's a little bit older, so it's kind of like bringing a vet in, which they really want vets. He might actually be like a pretty good culture fit.
Yeah,
like kind of like what they needed at that time.
Yeah,
and could come in, and because he can hit the 3, he could play next to Şengün. I mean, that's not going to be great defensively, but what is?
It's going to be bad.
So I could see taking Keegan at 3 for them.
Okay. 4 to the Kings. Now which direction do the Kings go?
See, at that point, I'll still think the Kings would have taken Jabari Smith.
Yeah. And you just try to develop him.
Although, J-Dub would be a really good fit.
If you could
on the Kings.
Yeah, he'd be awesome.
Because I'm thinking about their lineup right now, and that's kind of like exactly what they could use.
They could use another ball handler.
Just a big wing ball handler.
Yeah.
So maybe he goes that high.
Yeah.
Especially if we're talking about these teams and how these players would have fit on those teams. J-Dub would have been a really nice fit on the Kings.
What about Mathurin, though? Like, what if Mathurin is coming off the bench for them?
Yeah, so the thing about Mathurin is that did you see that stat where it's like what percentage of their points do they get from free throws? And Jimmy Butler is number 1 and Shea is number 2 and Mathurin's like number 4 as a rookie.
Yeah.
That is
it's impressive.
Super impressive.
It's impressive.
So yeah, I could totally see them taking Mathurin.
I would put Mathurin there I think just in like all fairness, I think having a guy like that off the bench would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then 5, the Pistons.
Totally understand if they would go Ivy again. But man,
I would go Jabari if I'm them at that point.
Yeah?
Yeah. Instead of Ivy.
Because you just like the fit with Wiseman?
I just love the fit with Wiseman and Duren as a 3 big lineup.
Would you play Jabari at the 3 so that you could get those 2 other bigs on the court as well?
Well, I play Bagley at the 3 and play Jabari at the 2.
I like that. That.
Yeah. You know,
beef stew 4, Wiseman 5.
Beef stew at point guard. When the league is zigging, we always want to zag, right? When it's small ball, we go big ball.
Big balls.
That's right. We're going big balls. Actually, maybe I would just take Walker Kessler at 5 for the Pistons.
Honestly, in retrospect, I mean, it would have worked out. You know what's crazy, though, as we're going through these teams, you can see the fit with J-Dub on every single team.
I mean, that's the thing with him is like he fits with everybody. There's not a team where you're like, well, I'm not sure that they could really use J-Dub. Like that's
Portland. He'd be perfect on Portland.
Oh my gosh. The Portland, the Blazers would probably be in the play-in like today if they had him.
I mean, obviously San Antonio would have worked. Washington, it's just like anything other than Johnny Davis would have been great.
Like just getting something instead of nothing.
Now here's the big question: the 11th pick.
Yeah.
Do you take J-Dub over Ousmane Dieng, Andrew?
Well, I've already said that I'd rather J-Dub be a part of the Paul George trade.
So you would rather him be 12th? So you would rather him be part of the Paul George trade than the Şengün trade?
Yeah, definitely. I don't
really because
I just don't care about the Şengün trade.
I'm telling you though, that trade is going to get talked about more than the PG trade in that the PG trade is already seen as such a huge win for OKC that you're just adding some extra what do people put on top of things? Frosting.
Sprinkles.
It's just extra frosting, Andrew. It's a cherry on top. You already won the trade, whereas the Şengün trade, people are going to talk about that one. And if J-Dub was the comparison, they wouldn't talk about it.
Here's the thing. I actually don't think people are going to talk about the Şengün trade because I just don't think it's going to matter in like 3 years.
Andrew, you are in for a rude awakening.
I just don't think it's going to matter. I just don't think Şengün is going to be able to impact winning at a high enough level. And I think this Rockets team is like destined for garbage for a long time. So I just don't think it's going to matter. Like he's put up impressive stats. He can do some cool stuff. Defensively, he's an absolute mess.
Fast forward 2 years, we're going to be talking about it, Andrew, on this.
I just don't care that much about it.
James Anderson said we should have picked Trey Murphy anyways, not Şengün. Okay, I was thinking about this last night because whenever that game was Monday. Trey Murphy, he's so tall, Andrew.
He's very tall.
Gosh, that team has so much length, and Josh Richardson like fits right into that. I was very impressed with him just showing up and being able to play against Shea. And
he was great. Yeah, he was awesome.
But here's how I'm coping with the Trey Murphy thing, and feel free to use this.
Okay.
If they had drafted Trey Murphy, would they have taken J-Dub, Andrew? Who knows? Who knows? And maybe they wouldn't have.
I think yes, just because like
no, you don't. It has to be no. That's the only way I can cope is if you tell me no, they wouldn't have taken J-Dub. If you said they would have taken both of them, then I feel even worse.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, If you could go back in time and just have Trey Murphy,
Okay,
And,
but here's why that's sort of interesting is because he went 17, I believe, which means that you would have had to take him at the Şengün spot, which means that you wouldn't have made that trade for the 2 picks, which means you wouldn't have those 2 picks to move up and get 2 lottery picks at 11 and 12. So what if you had only gotten 1? Maybe they only take Jang, and then you don't get J-Dub.
well,
I've coped.
I've coped.
I've coped.
The question for me is J-Dub and Trey Murphy or J-Dub and Jang?
I mean, I wasn't a huge Jang fan, so like that's an easy choice for me.
It's an easy one. We haven't really finished our redraft.
Well, it's because every team wants J-Dub, Andrew.
I think Jabari at 5. I think if Matherin's gone, if you're the Pacers, you might want him over a guy like Shaedon Sharpe or Dyson Daniels or somebody like that. So I think he could go as high as 6. He could go as high as 3, but I think more reasonably, like I think 6.
I think makes sense.
Like because like Paolo, Chet, Keegan Murray, Mathurin, Jabari. Like that's
wow.
fine.
Ivy is tumbling, Andrew. Ivy is tumbling in our redraft.
The shooting stuff is worrisome.
How old is Jaden Ivey? He's
not that old. He's not that old.
21. He just turned 21. Happy birthday 2 days ago.
Happy birthday.
He's shooting 33%. That's fine. He's a rookie.
Yeah, I just like long term, like 41% from the field, 33% from 3. I don't know. I would much rather have J-Dub though. Is all I'm gonna say.
The takeaway from this whole conversation is that we love J-Dub and we're so excited that he's on our team.
He's very good. He's a very good player that can play multiple positions and that I think could end up.
And he adds some much needed athleticism to this team.
Yeah. He's a dunker.
He's down to dunk.
He's down to dunk. And he held the Cracklin' Oak brand box that day. I gotta put that picture back out there in the universe again.
You know who have extremely similar stats? Jaden Ivey, rookie, and Russell Westbrook, rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pointing it out.
I mean, that's good. That's really good.
Hey, do you think Russ is gonna get a team? I'm starting to get a little nervous that this whole like, oh, now he's in Utah and thinking about stuff. I'm starting to worry that means that there's no escape plan.
Yeah, I don't know. Chicago does have legitimate interest.
They do? Okay.
So I don't know if the Clippers do.
Did you see that stat about Chicago's big 3 that they played 2 seasons together right now? Most of those guys have been healthy that entire time. They played a lot of minutes together, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
So Vooch, DeRozan, and Levine.
Yeah.
They are, in terms of plus minus, they're exactly 0. Exactly 0 together.
That feels right.
It does feel right.
That feels right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I think maybe Russ goes to Chicago, which is just I don't know. I mean Chicago's not doing anything anyways.
Yeah, like slightly more shooting than the Lakers, but barely.
Yeah, I mean
I think they take the fewest threes.
Yeah, they do. It's not a great fit. I don't think there is like what fit is there that's a good fit for him?
I still think the Clippers fit is fine. I don't understand why there's that much pushback on that.
Yeah, I do too. I think they need somebody that can get to the hoop.
He can get to the hoop.
I know.
He just hasn't been able to finish this year.
Yeah, what is his percentage at the rim this year? I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily his last season, but like this is the beginning of the end for Russ. I think he still has a lot of juice left, but he's shooting 50. Wait, no,
he's in the 24th percentile for combo guards, which is a little confusing because if he was classified as a point guard, he would be on the 52nd percentile. So it doesn't seem as bad.
62%, 0 to 3 feet.
Yeah, but everywhere else, 29% short mid-range, 36% long mid-range, all mid-range, 32%, and he's shooting 29% from 3.
Yeah. It's not great.
It's not
It's
great.
not great. Yeah, he only 11 dunks in 52 games.
That might be the most surprising stat.
Yeah. That's
Okay, so Andrew, it's the day after Valentine's Day, the last game before the All-Star break.
Yep.
And the Thunder are at home playing the Houston Rockets. Now, this team has zigged when we've wanted them to zag every single time. They had a chance to get to 500 again, and we're not able to do it. Last time they played, or 2 times ago when they played Houston, we said before it was on a Wednesday, and we were feeling pretty confident at that time, and they had one of their worst games of the season. Based on how they've been zigging and zagging, what is the prediction for tonight?
I think they win tonight. I just don't.
They have now been doomed.
Probably
30-point blowout incoming.
I think actually losing against the Pelicans increased the odds that this is going to be a win tonight.
They got to go into the break with a little positivity.
Yeah.
And you know what? We started off this conversation talking about, have they picked a direction or not yet? Part of that is that none of these teams around them have picked a direction either. Like the Blazers, get a big win against the Lakers at home that they really needed to start, distancing themselves from the Lakers. And then they come out and lose to the Wizards last night.
Not only lose, they lost by 25.
Yeah, and it was the second night of a back-to-back, but still, it's at home.
Who cares?
Slept in your own bed.
Wizards. This is the Wizards. You don't lose by 25 to the Wizards.
And then, meanwhile, the Jazz, we thought, okay, they lost half of their rotation. This team is going to start turning down. And they're still out there competing every single night. They won again. So I don't know if we're ever going to learn, not just because of what OKC is doing, but because of the teams around them. I mean, Golden State lost again last night and are back to 500. Yeah. The only teams I feel good about are those top 6 in terms of yes, they will be. None of them are going to fall into the play or out of the plan.
Yeah, no doubt.
After watching the Pelicans, it's hard to not put them there as well. I'm feeling much more positive about the Timberwolves. I don't think they're going to fall out of the play-in now.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to that starting at Golden State, Utah, Portland, OKC, LA.
Yeah. All those teams except for LA are 5-5 in the last 10. Golden State, Utah, Blazers, Thunder.
It makes this all the more painful. And the Lakers, for everything they did with their assets to get back a bounty, Andrew. And now what are they, 1-2 since that big trade?
We got to stop caring about the Lakers as an NBA community. We got to just stop the amount of time wasted listening to people talk about them is getting so annoying. They're 13th in the West. They're 13th in the West.
They're 2.5 behind the 10th. And that might not seem like, oh, wait, we're 2.5 behind the 10th. Yeah. That's a big deal when there's 3 teams ahead of you. They have to jump 3 teams. Is that baby? Hey, let me see that baby.
Yeah, man. I don't care about the Lakers anymore. I think they stink. I don't care what trades they made. I mean, the Timberwolves were like, man, we'll do anything. We get a old caretaker point guard. Great, thank you. Please get D'Angelo Russell out of here. The Lakers were like, yeah, we'll take that guy as our point guard. There's issues there. There's issues there. I don't think
there were issues there when he played in LA.
I know. It's weird. That's a weird one to me. I don't think D'Angelo Russell makes them any better. He put up nice counting stats in Minnesota, but I don't think he affects winning in a positive direction.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that Rudy Gobert had his best game of the season.
It's not.
It's not first game
at all. It's gonna just Mike Conley is the most whatever point guard, in the NBA.
At this point, you got to give Mike a little credit. He had a nice career.
He's had a very nice career. The thing that is good is that he does know how to play with Rudy, and has had success playing next to Rudy. So that's helpful to him. That just shows the commitment that they've made
And
to
he had
that
like
side.
the perfect game that they would need from him. He in that game against the Mavs that they won. He was
Yeah.
12-3, 9 assists, hit 3 threes, only took 8 shots.
Yeah,
That's
that's
perfect. Just keep
what
doing
he'll
that.
be moving forward, which will be helpful. Which is
And
like
when Cat comes back, it's very nice that you don't have another guy like D'Lo who's soaking up a lot of shots. Those can go to Cat. Maybe Cat will start shooting a bunch of threes again,
he should.
and they'll probably be fine.
Yeah, they'll probably. Yeah, I agree with you. Those top 8, I think, are there. Golden State's got to get it together. I find it hard to believe that they'll fall out. It's going to be between the Thunder, Blazers, and Jazz for that 10th spot. And you could make an argument for any of those teams. The Lakers, I just think, are cooked. I think LeBron's foot thing is bad. I think that team is bad. I don't believe in them at all. They're just whatever to me. But like the Blazers, Thunder, and Jazz are going to continue to fight. The Jazz will probably most likely to fall out, and so it's really between the Thunder and Blazers, and I believe in the Thunder more than the Blazers today.
Wow, so you're still on team play-in.
If I'm picking who I think the 10th best team in the Western Conference is today, I think it's the Thunder.
Okay, well, in that case, Andrew, tell me who is the ideal matchup in our play-in game between the Pelicans, Timberwolves, and Warriors.
T-Wolves.
2 of those are very tough matchups for us.
T-Wolves. The Pelicans is maybe the one that I don't want the most.
And the Warriors is right there.
The Warriors are second in the
They love destroying us.
Not wanting to play. The Pelicans are just uniquely built to defend the Thunder.
They are. Just think of all Brandon Ingram isn't even thought of as like a great defender, but just the length that he brings in addition to Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. And then you have Jose Alvarado. Maybe Jose Alvarado's guarding you first, and then you get by him, and oh my gosh, it's Herb Jones.
Yeah.
And then Jonas Valanciunas, who a lot of people don't think of as like an amazing defensive center.
Yeah.
When he's like the last line of defense and you've had to get through all those other guys, he doesn't really have to do much at that point.
Yeah.
And it just kind of all works against the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And they are always nasty, nasty games, which is what the game on Monday was.
I think the Thunder could beat the Timberwolves in a playing game, so I'd rather have them.
Ooh, in the Target Center, though, they were pretty hyped last year for their playing game. That would be quite the environment for the young Thunder to go into.
I think they could do it. Wouldn't that be? I mean, that's just covering a playing game would be amazing.
Would you fly up?
I would make the case and probably get denied. I would definitely make the case, though, that I need to be there.
It is disappointing that we're probably not going to have another Bird Night this year.
Yeah, probably not.
That's disappointing. That was very fun.
Next year is going to be very, very interesting with regards to the entire standings for the Thunder, with the Rockets pick and the Clippers pick, and potentially a pick next year.
We're going to be tracking a lot of teams.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be a great year of podcasting on so many levels. This year's been great too, but yeah, I think it's still possible Portland gets it together. I mean, this is Dame's best season, like highest scoring season, best effective field goal percentage of his career. Like, I still think that there's a chance that they like actually turn it around. That loss to the Wizards, that was so discouraging. That was so discouraging. The Thunder actually also have to prove that they can get to 500. They haven't done that yet. It's been just eluding them all year. I thought there was a really good chance to get there on Monday night, especially when you see all the guys that are sitting. You're like, okay, they got to do it tonight.
Well, this is going to be their best chance, because if they can beat Houston, their next game is at Utah, which is still a tough game.
They got 4 games left against Utah. 4. Those are just crucial. Like, if you want to make the play-in, you have to win all 4 of those. You have to go win all 4 of those. Like, prove that you're the better team. Go beat Utah 4 out of 4 times, and then I think if they can do that, I think they're in.
I agree. They really, because they could still lose to all the Phoenix games.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Phoenix is good. Even, I don't know when KD's actually going to come back, but that's interesting. But yeah. No, I think the Thunder will reach 500. They need to take
Just for a day.
They need to take care of business against these teams. They have to.
So you're saying you want Mark to play the win now lineups, bringing it back around. I agree. Let's go, Andrew.
I feel bad
Lakers rotation.
The one thing I just kind of disagree with is just playing Lindy at all at this point, because like his contract expires. They didn't sign him to the standard contract. Like, does Lindy actually have a future on this team?
You know what I was wondering? I was wondering if he actually has more of a future with the team, and that's why they left him on the two-way, because Eugene, they're expecting him to be gone next season, so they just gave him, the deal for the rest of the season, and then Lindy will be back on a two-way next season.
I mean, maybe so. I don't know.
Because I can't imagine them using a roster spot on Eugene next year.
No, I mean, I could more easily imagine it being used on Dario, although we haven't seen him play yet. But
yeah,
I don't.
Were you there when everyone was interviewing Dario?
No, it's hard for me to get to practice. It's usually like right in the middle of like work day. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm very curious to see how the rest of this goes. I'm excited to see Shea in the All-Star game. I'm excited to see where he gets picked before the game. That's going to be very entertaining.
Yeah,
to see.
That would be great. Now Ja is in the starting lineup now, right?
Correct.
Okay, so he will be picked before Shea, no matter what.
No matter what.
That would have been fun to see if a guy picked Shea over Ja.
I know. I wish that honestly, like the starters weren't chosen that way. That it was just like all of you guys are all stars. Now let's just choose teams, and the first 4 picked for each team are the starters.
I would like that.
I'd like that a lot better. Maybe we're inching closer to something like that. Because honestly, like the all-star starters, no one records that. Like when it gets to the end of their careers, it's like, well, they started in this many games and they were backups in this many games. It's like, no, like they just say like 6-time all-star,
Okay. Last question before we go. Who will be picked last, Andrew?
Who's picked last?
Who will be picked last? Sabonis?
Sabonis is a candidate. It's got to be a big, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's usually Gobert.
It's usually
now
Gobert.
That he's gone.
Was Harden chosen last year? Was that right? Or am I just imagining that?
Oh yeah, because KD went with Gobert instead of having to take. Harden.
Yeah, I don't think
that was funny.
Yet. I mean, obviously, it can't happen again because Harden's not in it. But
it's probably going to be Bam or Sabonis.
Bam, Sabonis. James Anderson says Triple J.
Triple J.
What about Markkanen?
Isn't he a starter now?
Oh, he is a starter now. That's right. So he gets immunity.
He gets immunity.
That's kind of nice. That's a nice thing about being chosen as a starter is that you have immunity to being picked last.
It can only be so bad. He will be the last pick of the starters.
Yes, I think Sabonis is probably picked last.
That's okay, and that's okay.
Okay, former Thunderman. But that'll be so much fun. And then seeing the Rising Star Challenge I'm very excited to watch those games.
Yeah, we'll get to see Jabari with Giddey and J-Dub, right?
Yeah, it's a little alternate timeline where if Mark Spears of Anscaped, it makes me think of Manscaped.
It does sound like Manscaped, yeah.
If that was true, maybe he get to see. Maybe his leg will stop trembling so much. Maybe that's why. Maybe his leg is still trembling. Maybe that's
what if he came out and just was drilling threes off of just crazy passes from Giddey? He hits like 10 threes in the game. What would be the reaction of Rockets Twitter?
Rockets Twitter would just die. I think anybody that's on Rockets Reddit, their computers will just burn away.
That's what I'm hoping for. That'll be fun.
Wouldn't they freak out if they're like, oh my gosh?
I mean, they know it. They know that they need a point guard. They need someone to
They're also just trashing Jabari right now as a collective group, which if I'm a Rockets fan right now, all I want to talk about is Jabari's age. That's all I want to talk about.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I'm very good at coming up with ways to cope for other fan bases that I would not think of for my own team.
Yeah. Listen, he's the youngest player in the league in a situation that's not ideal. Let's give him time. That's what I would say.
You turn it on the organization. That's what the Rockets fans aren't doing well enough. Like, you just got to turn all this anger towards the organization.
Yes, that's the problem. Like, they think they talk about Rafael Stone like he's Sam Presti. And it's like, come on, guys. Come on. Like, it's okay to notice that there's not a really great plan in place here.
Yeah, in terms of like who they're drafting, how it's all fitting together.
Yeah. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to acknowledge that they're not putting these players in the best positions to win. And that the thought of, well, we just need to get some vets in here, this summer is like, oh my gosh, like, do you guys not realize like you're going into year 4 here? Like, this is not it. Like, this is if our conversation right now was about how the Thunder needed to get some vets in here, that is just an admission that this has been a failure up to this point.
And the fact that
they need to pivot.
So I talked about how on Slam and Jam, like, I'm interested to see how dangerous Houston is this summer.
Yeah.
Not a great early sign when the vets they bring in through the trade deadline are like immediately getting bought out with Danny Green and Justin Holiday. Like, those are vets. Like, those are guys that have around the league been known as being like good vets.
Yeah, especially Danny Green is like.
And you would think they would have wanted those guys. And it sounds like, at least to some extent, they did want those guys to stay. And so now it's like all hinging on Frank Kaminsky. I was reading an article about Frank Kaminsky, how he's like, he's our one vet. We got to hold on to this guy. Please, no Kennedy team offer to give him 6 minutes a game because we need him.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing before we go, Andrew.
Okay. Last thing.
Last thing. The Thunder appear to have lost another MVP because last night in the game against Milwaukee, Mike Muscala not only put up 18-8 but played 44 minutes.
That is the wildest part of it.
Iron Man Mike Muscala.
Hey,
played 44 minutes in a NBA game against one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
And got it all the way to overtime. Have we made a huge mistake, Andrew?
If we're trying to get to the play-in, absolutely. Big mistake.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. Mike is obviously he's always played well with Shea.
He also got a tech in that game.
Oh,
if you weren't watching, he dunked. Oh, but he got the tech after he dunked a ball.
It's beautiful. I'm actually that made me the tears of joy, honestly. Tears of joy for Mike.
He's already been balling.
He has. I'm excited for him. I hope he gets to. I mean, I have a rooting interest in the Eastern Conference now
because of Mike.
Yes.
Yeah.
I already thought that Boston was going to get to the finals again, but now that Mike is their second best player next to Jason Tatum, it's gonna be great. I'm totally into that.
Really special. Shout out to Mike.
Yeah, that's big time. Honestly, big time. We'll leave him in the intro. If they win the title, we'll just leave him in the intro forever.
You can Photoshop a Celtics jersey on him in the intro to make it more accurate.
That's right. I'll just like NBA paint style color in his jersey. Yeah, I'm into that. Okay, thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday. We are going to have a Friday podcast for you guys from Salt Lake City. So Taylor and I will likely be your Fry Pod crew on Friday from Salt Lake. So we will talk to you guys again on Friday.